Hey everyone, my name is Tom Butwin. Welcome to the channel, and today we're talking about the three biggest differences between the Universal Audio Dream 65 Reverb and the Strymon Iridium IR. Now, when I say differences, I am talking about the three biggest practical differences that are going to affect you when you go to use these on a gig in your studio or at your home. So let's get to it. The first major difference between these pedals actually makes it very difficult to compare them at all, and that's because the Strymon actually models three different amplifiers. It does the 65 Deluxe Reverb, it does the Vox AC30, and it does the Marshall Plexi. So that being said, if you go with the Universal Audio pedal, it is only modeling the 65 Deluxe Reverb amp from Fender. Now, you do have a ton of different options on the Universal Audio pedal. You can switch speakers, you can add different modifications, you can crank in some boost, you can do all sorts of different things to that one amp, though. On the Strymon, you have three distinctly different amplifiers, albeit you don't have as much control over each one of them. You can select different cabinets and speaker combinations, but you're kind of limited when it comes to that. However, you do have the three amplifiers versus the one. So if you're someone who wants more versatility and maybe wants a wider array of amp tones, the Strymon might be for you. But if you're somebody who's absolutely in love with that Fender clean tone, maybe the Universal Audio pedal does it for you. Difference number two, and perhaps the most surprising difference to me between these two pedals, is the built-in reverb. On the Dream 65 pedal from Universal Audio, it has an amazing spring reverb emulation. You can hear it. It sounds very realistic. It feels realistic when you play. The reverb on the Strymon is a completely different approach. This is actually a dry amplifier in a room. You can hear it. It's actually very realistic when you have in-ear monitors, and it feels like your amp is really loud and it's in a room. This is a huge difference, though. If you're looking for reverb to be more of an effect like you would use a spring reverb for, then the Universal Audio pedal does that really well. If you're wanting to use the reverb as an effect on the Strymon, I don't think it works quite as well. It sounds realistic, but if you like spring reverb and you like the Strymon, you're going to have to add a spring reverb pedal before that to get that sound. That's up to you and how you want to use it. If you're not somebody who really likes the spring reverb thing, then this isn't going to matter to you. In fact, the Strymon reverb might actually work better for you because you can get more of a realistic amp in a room type sound. If you're absolutely in love with that Fender spring reverb sound, you might need to go with the Universal Audio pedal. The third difference might not matter to you if you weren't planning on using these pedals this way, but I do think it might sway some people, and that difference is the fact that the Strymon actually has a dedicated 1/8" headphone output on the front of it. This means that you can plug into this pedal without an amp, without a powered speaker, without an audio interface, and you can play guitar to your heart's content without bothering anybody, or you can dial in tones right to your in-ears. That is a really cool feature. Now, the Universal Audio pedal does not have a dedicated headphone output, but of course, you could plug it into a headphone amp or get an adapter of some sort and do the same thing. Like I said, though, this might not matter to you. If you're someone who's just going to use this in the studio, just going to use it in a live situation, you probably don't need to plug headphones into the pedal. But if you're looking for a silent practice option, the Strymon is awesome. I mean, imagine throwing this into a gig bag and getting on an airplane and taking a trip. You got a fun thing to play with on your vacation, and you don't have to lug an amp with you. So overkill, maybe, but if you wanted to do that, I think the Strymon would be really cool for that situation. So there you have it. Those are the three big practical differences. There are a ton of other differences with these pedals. You can actually load your own impulse responses to the Strymon. I don't think you can load your own stuff into the Universal Audio pedal yet. I'm sure the capability is there, and And I'm sure they may let you model things in the future and somehow upload them through their app or their website to your pedal. But as it stands right now, all you can do is deal with what's programmed into the pedal, which is a really, really great set of tones. So the other big difference is that you actually get a bonus effect with Universal Audio Pedal. You do get the vibrato or tremolo that you would get on a real 65 Deluxe Reverb amp. Which is kind of a niche thing, but it can be really, really, really cool if that's what you want out of an amplifier. So if you're looking for number of options and things that you get when it comes to these pedals, you have to take into consideration that, you know, if you're somebody who uses tremolo, you don't have to put another pedal on the board. You actually have it built into the Dream 65. But again, when you compare these two, which is more valuable to you, having a tremolo and spring reverb or having 3 different amp models in one pedal? I don't know. Only you can answer that question. For me personally, what drew me to both of these pedals is the fact that they emulate my actual amplifier. I play through a Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue from about 2006. So it's not vintage, but it's not brand new. And I was looking for something that could imitate the sound for studio production, YouTube videos where I don't want an amp blasting in my face, or if I have a gig where everything has to be direct, I wanted to be able to bring that sound with me. I don't always want to lug my amp around when I have an electric guitar application that I need to play on. That's when I started scouring the internet to see who made something that did this. And of course, you have the Helixes, you have Fractals, you have Kempers. You can go down that road. But I do like the idea of having traditional analog pedals on your pedal board. And the cool thing that this allows you to do is you can kind of live in both worlds. Both of these pedals will let you do this. You can set it up on your board so you can bring your normal pedal board to a direct only gig, run this directly into the PA, and boom, you've got a great sound. But you can use that same board, bypass the pedal, and go into your favorite actual amplifier on stage if you want to do that too. Of course, Kempers, Fractals, other modelers, you can do similar things where you play them into an actual amp and then model that same amp so you can go direct on other stages. But you know, I mean, there's something about having those real pedals in front of you that is kind of fun. There's definitely some sounds that are hard to emulate in those digital boards, but everyone is different. Everybody's style of playing is different. Everybody's applications are different. And that is why ultimately I can't say which one of these pedals is better. They do very different things, and they do some similar things as well. So that is what I have for you today. What do you think? Do you own one of these? Do you own an actual Fender Deluxe Reverb? How do you feel about these pedals in general? Which one do you think you would buy? I can tell you that I am actually leaning more toward the Dream 65 pedal, and that's because I love spring reverb. I can see myself using the tremolo, and I'm not really interested for my sound in using the AC30 or the Marshall Plexi. So those things don't really add much value for me. If it was just down to the 2 amp sounds, I don't know. It's a toss-up. It depends on what I'm playing. The Strymon definitely sounds to me more like they modeled the normal channel on a 65 Deluxe Reverb. It's got a little bit of a fatter sound to it. It's got a little bit more of that mid-range punch that the normal channel seems to have. The Dream 65 is definitely brighter. You can tame some of that back, but it sounds way more like the vibrato channel on the 65 Deluxe Reverb to me. I don't know if that's what they did, but I suspect that is what's going on here. And it would kind of explain the reverb thing between the 2 pedals. So for me, I think I'm leaning more towards the Universal Audio Pedal. But again, I would love to know which one of these you think is better. How would you use them? Have you used them? And what is your go-to amp sim of choice? Maybe it's not even one of these pedals. If you have a better suggestion, let me know. So there you have it. 2 really great pedals, 2 very versatile pedals, but also 2 very different pedals that can do some very cool things. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and liking. leave a comment, check out any of my other videos that I have regarding gear, music vlogs, and my own covers and music. I would really, really appreciate it. If you're not done scrolling through your phone and you want to spend some more time on your smart TV or your computer, I would highly recommend starting with these videos right over here.